You know, I've recorded this like 5 times and I've deleted it. I'm just so passionate about Halo. And it's just my favorite game of all time. Halo 3 was the best. And then, through the years, we've gotten some really, really good Halos, except for 5. Let's be real here. But then when Halo Infinite came out, I think everybody was super hyped about it. I mean, when I talk about Halo Infinite, I was ready for the story. I wanted to see what happened after Master Chief and Cortana did not, the whole entire crappy ending to Halo 5. And I just had to see what was going to happen. So I played the story and I loved it. I thought it was a great game. But then when you come down to the multiplayer aspect was really, really bad. And if we're going to go and rewind back to when 343 was first taking care of MCC, I'll never forget it because it was horrible. I think it was on the Xbox One. It had just released. They announced Master Chief Collection, and everybody, including all my friends, I think it was like 8 or 9 of us, we all got on to go play it. And when we tried to join in and get into a lobby, nobody could join. It was horrible. And then when you did join a lobby, it would just kick you out. And they had such huge problems at launch that I don't think anybody was trusting 343 anymore at that point. And then they ended up redeeming themselves. They did a full 180, and MCC became one of the best games that I've ever experienced. I mean, do you know what it is to get all Halos, and then later on they'd throw Halo 3 ODST in there and Halo 4 and say, don't worry about it, you get these too. And then everybody's playing, it was playable, you get all the maps, you get a bunch of things that you couldn't do before. And any video game, because you know what it is for a game to have like 7 games into one, and then you get to play any single time. It's just wild. So then they ended up adding free battle passes. You can go in, do free battle passes. It was phenomenal. I mean, you just get to get a bunch of content that was free with the game. I mean, you purchased it, even if you got it on Steam. I mean, I don't even want to talk about Steam yet, because when Halo MCC dropped on Steam, it was one of the best games on Steam, and it's always on sale. If you haven't gotten it yet, you should probably go and get it one day just to try it out and go relive nostalgia. But man, you're just getting a bunch of free content off of a game that's only $20. So after MCC, everybody was trusting 343 with what they were going to do with Halo Infinite. But then season 1 comes around, and man, it was the same thing. I mean, it was a bad start. Halo Infinite had only 4 maps, pretty much. I mean, I can count off the top of my head probably 4 or 5 maps, and I'm not talking about big team battle where you can only play 2 maps. So out of all those 5 maps, I think 2 of them were only for big teams, so it would get super repetitive. Then there was a bunch of bugs. I mean, if we look at the menu back in the day, you couldn't even go and play a game of Halo Infinite and then invite your friends, and then you don't even know if they were in the lobby. It'll say 1 out of 2 or 2 out of 2 in the bottom, and then you couldn't even see if your friends were there because they wouldn't load. And then the first battle pass, I love Halo Reach, okay? I love it. But man, you're gonna throw Reach at us again. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody wanted it, because if you look back, Halo Reach, obviously you're going to get that armor and everything as you progress. But then you end up going into Halo MCC, you also got Reach armor. Then they end up opening up the game with Halo Infinite. Oh yeah, Heroes of Reach. Again, Reach? You gotta be kidding me. You guys gotta come up with something else. And then on top of that, the Battle Pass had no credits. So I actually spent money on the shop because I liked, I love Halo. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna support whatever it is that they're putting out there. But it just sucks that you couldn't even save up those credits to get the next pass. So everything on the store, including a bad battle pass, everything in the store was really, really expensive. And on top of that, if you bought something from the store and it was a helmet for a specific core of an armor set, you couldn't use it on another armor set. So if I buy a helmet and I'm like, oh, I love this helmet, I can't wait to try it out on my Mark 6 or whatever, a Mark 7, you couldn't do it because it was locked. And then there were barely any modes to play on multiplayer. You had Team Slayer, you had Big Team Battle. I think there was King of the Hill, and there was Team SWAT, which is Team Tactical. Besides that, there was nothing else. So the start of Halo Infinite was horrible. And I think that 343 didn't really have a good direction of where they were going, what they were going to end up doing, and how to drop this content, because it was really bad at first. Then years will go. I mean, I think it's been, I guess, a year and a half or 2 years since Halo Infinite came out. I mean, man, it's been a while, but I don't really remember. But if we end up looking at it, how it's progressed, it's actually gotten better by a bunch. I mean, first things first, they ended up adding Forge. And Forge is one of the things that was supposed to be there at launch. Then they ended up delaying it, just like they delayed, having 2 people or 3 people or 4 people playing Halo Infinite with you. But it was delayed. Once they end up bringing Forge out, it was amazing. I mean, people were making so many fun maps. People were making Mario Kart, and I had fun doing that. I mean, I went to DK's island. I think it's Donkey Kong Island. I was racing there with my girlfriend and a couple other people. It was a lot of fun. And then I went to, I think it's Super Mario 3D World. Somebody made a Super Mario 3D World. Somebody made like a Sea of Thieves map. It was crazy, the amount of things that people create. And it takes me back to the days of Halo 3, where when you were playing Halo 3, I'll never forget that Bungie at the time, they would let you go out and try these maps, but it would be on a ranked mode. So it'd be like, 343. I mean, it'll say like something created by here, MLG. So people would they'd throw it out there so that you can play. I mean, I remember going to Burger King back in Halo 3. It was just amazing. But then they end up adding this entire playlist, and you could search whatever you want. You can go to a map. If you want to look for a specific thing that somebody made, you can do it. It's amazing. So after they ended up doing that, they end up adding finally a ranking system, a really good ranking system, because it was back in the day in Halo Infinite, you just level up your pass and that was your ranking system. Like, come on, man. The best ranking system that Halo ever had was Halo Reach. And I'll always go back to Halo Reach and say that was the best one. It was a lot of fun. It was rewarding. And now Halo Infinite is doing the same exact thing, where you can go in and just play and level up at the same time, but you're leveling up not only your pass, but a rank. So that's awesome. At least you're getting, rewarded for playing and not just leveling up your pass. So on top of that, they end up adding a lot more maps like they wanted to, and they added a lot more modes. I mean, I logged in for the first time, I think it was yesterday, and Season 5 had just dropped. It dropped yesterday, and they had a peak of 18,000 people on Steam. Mind you, this game, when it first dropped, it had over 100,000 people on Steam. But then it just dropped all the way to like 1,000 or 500, and then it kept going low and it kept going high. It was going on only to like a max of 2,000 people. Let me tell you, 8,000 people for Halo Infinite to be coming and making a comeback is beautiful. And then the new pass has the Flood, and everybody loves the Flood. Everybody wanted the Flood to be in Halo Infinite. Looks like we're not getting it yet. Maybe there's going to be another game that'll drop it. But then on top of that, they added Forbidden, a brand new arena map for Season 5, and Prism. Prism, it looks like a Needler map where they ended up showing the origins of a Needler, but then they're adding Extraction. Extraction is one of the funnest modes that I had. I mean, that Halo had back in the day. I just loved it. I love playing Big Team Battle. But then one of the best things that they did right now, there's 2. And I'm going to talk about the fact that we can use any helmet on any armor core. We are not locked to that anymore. If you go to the store and you buy a weapon armor, you can use that on any weapon. Well, the selected weapon, but the ammo, the color is gonna the color itself. You can use it on a different weapon instead of it staying on one thing. If you buy an armor core and you buy their outfit or their color for the outfit, you can use it on any single one. That is so much better, because you couldn't, like, imagine if you bought something in the store and you just couldn't use it on something. Now you can. And then on top of that, they are finally adding campaign AI Forge. So that means that you can put any, character from from story mode into Forge. So you can pretty much play like, I don't know, you against anything. I mean, you could play against an elite, but on the legendary difficulty, it's fun. It sounds like it's going to be amazing. And then on top of that, they're adding Firefight to Halo Infinite. Do you know what that is? That is pretty much Horde from Gears of War or Splatoon if you play Salmon Run, like Salmon Run on Splatoon. It's pretty much waves and waves and waves of enemies that are coming at you and trying to kill you. So I find those modes a lot of fun, because it's like some type of survival instinct with your friends, and it just makes it fun. Halo Infinite has also added brand new equipment. They've added brand new weapons, and the game has completely changed. I mean, they're even adding Mark 6 and Mark 5, the original Master Chief armor, and I'm just super happy about that. They're adding brand new operators, which are like, brand new cores, and they're adding new equipment every day, and it's just, the game is getting so much better than what it was. And I really do hope that 343 is able to turn this around and make this into a game that is not only fun for somebody who just jumped in, but for people who have been Halo fans for years. So I hope that in the future I am able to make more Halo content. But man, I'm just so happy with how Halo Infinite is turning it around. And you have to feel good for 343 and what they've been able to change. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people who have, they've let go and things have changed. But man, even the trailers for Halo Season 5 have looked amazing. So thank you for listening to me. It was a great one. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And thank you guys. Have a good one.